Thank you, Mr. Scarpinato. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy week to spend some time with us this evening to talk about the plan that our school district has to increase our students' in-person attendance here at Longwood, and take the next hour or so to answer questions and concerns that you may have, in the hopes that we continue to do great things as we have together. So before we begin with your questions and a little bit of introduction, there's a number of folks around with me here this evening, and I'd like them to introduce themselves to you just in case possibly you're not aware of who they may be. So over here, we'll start.
Richard Rouse, Assistant Plant Facility Administrator.
John Ryan, Transportation Coordinator.
Dr. Hagan, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources.
Dr. Denton, Assistant Superintendent for People Personnel and Community Services.
Dr. Castro, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction and Learning.
Lisa Motto, Assistant to the Superintendent for Administration.
And of course, I'm Dr. Lonergan, lovingly referred to lately as the head custodian here at Longwood School District. So thank you all for being with us. Let me open by just saying to you that it's been a number of months since we last met. We had done something very much like this in August. And let me tell you, the feedback that we received from our parent community with regards to that exchange was extremely helpful. So we thought that, hey, it's the middle of the year, and it would be a great opportunity for us to connect again for questions that we have about our reopening plan that starts on January 25th with our elementary children at this point in time. So that's what we're going to do this evening. There may be a lot of questions that I can or we have anticipated. But before we get to that point, let me just ask you and put a couple of things out there. Number one, as you know, all of our families have received a survey as of last Friday, particularly families whose children, one or more, of course, are currently on distance learning at home. In order for us to best plan for the comeback of additional children in the end of this month and on the secondary level in February, we really need to know if your family will decide to remain with the distance learning plan for your children, or to return to the 4-day hybrid model that begins at the end of this month. So that survey went out to you on Friday. Please take a look at it. And it's really for the folks whose children are on distance learning, that we need you to answer the survey and let us know if the children are going to remain that way going into the second semester. We did say to you in August that we were asking families to commit to the distance learning until the end of the first semester. And that's coming up, right? The 29th of January. This time, we're asking families to commit for a shorter period of time, because I know it's your hope, and certainly all of our hope, that we're going to have all of our children back to school by the end of this school year, if we can get control of this virus and bring things back to some type of normal attendance with all of our children back in the buildings. That's our goal, sometime in the spring to the end of the year. But of course, the pandemic will have to be under control, and assure that that's a possibility. But in the meantime, we're going to ask those families to commit until the end of the third quarter, which is April 9th, for distance learning, not all the way at the end of the semester, which in this case would be the end of the school year. So it will give us some flexibility, hopefully, by the springtime, to be able to say everybody's coming on back to school and we can end the school year together. That's our goal. Whether or not this virus will cooperate with us, we're not too sure. But with the onset of the vaccinations and the good stuff that we have been doing here together, our fingers are crossed. Also know that we started in August and came out to the community with our 2-day-a-week attendance, the 2-day hybrid, with our gold and with our green cohorts. That is now going to be modified beginning on the 25th of January, and for the 7 through 12 level on the first week in February, to a 4-day hybrid model, with Wednesday remaining a day for distance learning, for our staff to be able to continue to update and receive professional development and work with our students on Wednesday. And most importantly, for the great work that our buildings and grounds folks do to keep our buildings clean and sanitized on that day in Wednesday. So all of our students who will participate in the 4-day hybrid that will be starting on the 25th of January for the elementary school, that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's the only option, ladies and gentlemen, that we are offering for the hybrid. A number of you have asked a few times, will the 2-day option be there and can we select that rather than the 4-day option? But we're not offering the 2-day option going forward after the 25th because the whole idea is to get our students back into school as much as possible. And I know that may be a disappointment for some families, but that's a decision that we want to go to. So if your children will come back to school or continue in school in our hybrid model, it will be for 4 days, with Wednesday remaining very similar to what it is right now. So I wanted to put that out there. The survey for the distance learning families, please find that on your email and send it in to us. Our deadline was for tomorrow, the 13th. We may extend that a day, but I'm hoping everybody will do this tonight and tomorrow, and we'll have some updated numbers to best understand how and what we need to do when more of our students come back to our buildings come the end of this month. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Scarpinato, who's running our show here with the technology tonight, to open this up. And I see that we have a number of people here, and the first person up is Michelle. So I'm going to say, Michelle, come on in like we did in August, and let's have a conversation. And we'll continue doing that for the next hour and get to as many people as we can. And maybe the questions will be somewhat redundant, so we'll be able to answer a lot of them for folks who we won't be able to get to tonight. So I'm going to be quiet right now. And Michelle, come on in. You there, Michelle? Make sure you're unmuted. Hello? Pardon me. Oh, maybe we need to come back to Michelle and get to the next. Yeah. And I see it's, who's up next? Christina Brown. Okay,
Hi, good evening.
good evening. How can we help you tonight?
Yeah, I just have a question about the secondary level. What is the plan if a majority of the students are coming back?
If the majority of our students come back, can you be a little bit more specific on what you mean by the plan?
More specifically, how will the social distancing work, the lunch periods work? Because the schools are quite crowded in the hallways passing. Are there any plans in place for that?
Well, the plans that we have been working on, Christina, since August remain in effect. It would be very difficult for us if every child in our high school, more than 2,800 of them, decided to come back on the 1st of February. In that case, social distancing would be challenged very much. Cafeterias would be split and children would have to take their lunch in different areas. That would be the worst case scenario. We'll know better tomorrow and best how to answer that question once we know, or this week, what the total number of families who will be keeping their children on distance learning will be. At last count, as you know, last week we looked at close to 58% of the last survey was done where our students were going to remain home on distance learning. So it's best for me to be able to answer that question when I know exactly how many of our students are coming back. And that's why it's so important for families who are listening tonight to make sure that you're filling out that survey so we have that information.
And sorry, just one more question. In the event that we send our children back 4 days, do we have the option to make them full distance learning if we don't feel that it's
At any time, as it has been since September, yes.
okay? All right,
Thank you. Take good care. Who's up
That's all.
next? Is that Heather? Yeah. Hello, Heather. How are you tonight?
possibly having the seniors return sooner than February 8th. Is that still a consideration? I'm a parent of a senior, and I feel like the amount of things they're missing out on is great, but them missing out on their education is even greater. There are a lot of children who are not doing the work they should be doing, and know it's, that's their fault. They're not doing it, but I feel like they need to have those good work ethics to then go on to college. We're not giving them the education they need right now. They're being very unmotivated.
So yeah, our plan is our seniors to come back that second week in February, not before that. We have a phase-in model with all 4 grades that we believe would be beneficial to children, Heather, who have not been in our school at all, 9th graders who were in 8th grade last year, who've never set foot, who've been on distance learning, who may be returning. We want to be sure that our program that we have set up for distance learning is phased in over a short period of time. And our seniors, where we are really banking on, because of their experience in school and being there for 3 years to 4 years, that their transition the second week in February would be a lot healthier for everybody. So that is our plan at the given moment, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for asking that. We have, give me a name. Good eyes there. Oh,
Oliver.
Oliver. There you go. How are you, Oliver? Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
We're doing well. How are you doing? Your family okay?
Everybody is okay, thanks God.
Good.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for all the work that you've been doing for the district. Is really amazing, considering the limitations, how things are working out. So thank you very much to all of you and all the teachers out there.
Oliver, these people around this table can't do it without people like yourself who give of time and their recommendations and their support. So thank you as well. Go ahead. What's your question?
You're welcome. So my question is, what's the methodology to go into a 4-day hybrid from a 2-day hybrid, considering, everything that's in the news and all the media platforms? It seems the COVID virus is getting stronger. We have a new version. And I was a little, I was curious to see what was the methodology for that.
Perfect question, and thank you. We all want our children back in school, no doubt about that. We know that after the Thanksgiving break, we saw a surge in positives all through the Longwood community, which, as you know, is 52 square miles. We saw a surge here in school, especially on the secondary level, junior high and the senior high level. We braced before Christmas with the hopes that people really understood the importance of staying home and staying local. And I'm happy to say that, because it's Mrs. Motto who supplies me on an hourly basis of where we are with positive cases within our school district. And yesterday and today were the lowest number of positive cases reported to us probably since sometime week or two before Thanksgiving, beginning of November. Let's hope that stays that way, Oliver. The 4 days a week is not an uncommon phase back in, as most school districts in Suffolk County and Brookhaven are doing the same. But hear me loud and clear, because you know where we were in August, that we watch this every single day. And if this gets out of control and the vaccinations are not rolled out in a timely fashion, and our numbers begin to accelerate once again, when we're bringing more children back together here in this school district, we will make a quick and decisive decision to keep our children safe and protected, possibly at home. And I will close any school here in our district if numbers get out of hand, and we will revert to distance learning. So let's keep our fingers crossed. We've all worked very hard. We've got a great staff, administration that has kept virtually the non-transmission from what we can see. And let me tell you, every single day, every contact person, every student who has a positive case is looked at and followed up on, and we have not been reported back to anybody transmitting this virus in our building, not just here at Longwood, but in all schools, because of the good stuff schools are doing. So that was the methodology. That was the thinking behind increasing from 2 to 4 days, because our kids need to be in school. But trust me, they'll be safe. And if they're not safe because what's going on in the atmosphere outside of it, we'll deal with that very quickly. I hope that helps you with the answer.
Yes, thank you very much. That really brings a lot of peace.
That's good. You take
To the
care, and you
family.
know where we are if you have any other questions.
Same
Okay,
to you.
Oliver?
And thanks again for the great work you're doing for the district. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. We can use everything God can give us. Who's up next?
Tawana Robinson.
Tawana, how are you? Come on in. How you been?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi, I had two questions. One was about transportation. I did do my survey already for both my children. Will they be sending something in the mail for the transportation, or they can just name will be given to the bus driver when it's time for them to go on the bus?
Automatically, yes, that's correct. Automatically, yes.
Okay, and my second question, my kids are in the 6th through 12th, so it says February 1st for them, but I might have been a typo. When I was reading the pamphlet for the stage 2 of opening, the 8th graders weren't listed on there. It said 6, 7, it said 6 dash, no, not dash, 6 comma, 7 comma, 9,
We'll
10,
answer that
11,
for you
12.
right now. Dr. Castro?
The word eight is there versus the number, so it's right in front. It says 8 and it goes on.
What's the date? Do we know? February 8th for our 8th grade, Tawana.
February 8th for the 8th, and for the 6th graders, it's the 1st?
The 1st of February, that's correct.
Okay. That was
Take your
answering my
time.
questions. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime at all. Thanks for being with us tonight. Who's up? That's an interesting handle.
S.M. McKeever.
S.M. McKeever. S. McKeever. Come on in. Maybe we need to come back. Okay, sorry. Try to catch up with you if you're there.
Chartrice Badlam.
There you go. I know that face.
She's muted.
Take your mute off there, hon.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Gotcha. How you doing?
Okay, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I just wanted to say, before I ask my question, that I think you guys have done an amazing job. I know my son is a senior and his teachers have been fantastic since last year. So I'm just outstanding. I can't ask for anything more. I think everyone has done exceptional. I think the teachers have been phenomenal and I'm so happy. So
Thank you so much. We'll pass that along to everybody. Thank you.
thank you. That being said, I kind of missed, I think Christina Brown may have asked this question, but I missed part of it because I'm still at work. I just wanted to find out, my son right now is on a 2-day and he'll be transitioning to the 4-day.
Okay.
I guess he was a little concerned. So I guess he wants to go, but he also says if he feels overwhelmed and it's uncomfortable because it's just too many students, can they switch to the full distance learning? That was my only question.
They may.
Okay.
They may.
Okay, that was my only question. Yeah, otherwise, he's been great. He's done a fantastic job. And again, you guys have been outstanding.
Well, that takes two. That's you guys out there and from us here. And that's what we're all about. Thank you so much for that. I'll pass that along.
Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Good night now.
R. Hine.
Mr. or Mrs. Hine, come on in. You're mute. There you go. Hey.
Now, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, sir. How are you?
Good evening, folks. All right, just a couple of questions.
Take your
So
time.
we had touched on transportation earlier, but I want to go a little further into transportation. You know, right now there are essentially half as many students on the bus as that we're going to transition to. The first question I have is what safeguards and what are we doing different as we go to a full group of students on the bus? And then what changes will the students and faculty see and experience when we transition to having all the students in the school rather than half the students? You know, what will my son come home and tell me, hey, Dad, this is what's different now that we're all there. This is what the district is doing to make it safer with all the students in at school at once.
Perfect questions. First one, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Ryan. We'll talk to you a little bit about what we have been doing since September with regard to the buses. And again, this answer to your question has got to be couched with, as soon as we know what the numbers look like from folks whose children will remain at home and not riding the bus, they'll have a little bit better idea of exactly what our bus rides will look like with the 4-day piece coming. But nothing will change with regards to what we are doing. And I'll ask John just to let you know, and the community, what has been going on in our buses since September and what to look forward to when we go to a 4-day. John?
Sure, we're going to continue doing the hydrostatic spraying of the buses every 28 days. We do it, we cycle all the buses, they all get sprayed within 28 days, vans and large buses. We also spray after every single run. So when we drop off at a school in the morning, the bus is sprayed. We do the next school, the bus gets sprayed again. We also have ventilation on the bus. We keep a hatch open and every other window at least an inch open to allow that fresh air to constantly flow throughout that bus.
Also, Mr. Hine, it's important to know that what we have, our practice has been on the buses to try to put as many families, children who are in the same family together on the same seat, and we'll continue to do that. But your point goes to explicitly this: what happens when more students are now on the bus, no matter what that's going to be? And we're going to do our best to keep our kids safe there and social distance as much as we can. This is going to be required 24/7. And but I'm not going to lie to our community. With more children coming back, and even if 50% of our students stay at home, where the numbers seem to be now a little bit less than that on the elementary level, social distancing is going to be a challenge because we have more children in our buildings. We will practice social distancing and encourage it the way they know it is already because they've been here. But no doubt about it, it's going to be a challenge from K to 12. And that's our responsibility to be sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure the children are separated enough anyway to keep themselves healthy and safe. So, but I'm not going to lie to the community. Social distancing is going to be challenging. I'll say that more and more tonight as we go on.
Is there a magic number that we're going to cap each bus off at?
Not that I know of, but we're hoping that even at some of our buses that were very crowded, that we're not going to get to that number, but we're hoping. If it ever is to the point where we are overcrowded completely, you'll have my word that we'll do whatever we possibly can to alleviate that. I don't think that's going to happen though. Fingers crossed.
I appreciate your time, folks, and your transparency going through the process.
Without a doubt. That's the only way we can be, without a doubt. Thanks for your help and your support. Kim? Hello, Kim.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. My name is Matt. Kim is my wife.
Hello, Matt, and hello, Kim.
Hi. This has kind of already been asked, but I'm gonna kind of ask it again.
Go right ahead.
The numbers are the worst they've been really since April, and in some ways, and they're worse. It seems odd to wait until we hit the absolute peak. I mean, 5 days ago was the absolute peak of the numbers we've had here in Suffolk County, and Suffolk County is the worst in the state right now. It seems odd that you wait to this point and say, we're going to send the kids more days per week. And not only that, but if you don't commit to doing that, then you can't go in until April. Seems like it'd make more sense to wait until the numbers start coming down and then ask people if they want to send their kids back.
I hear you on that. I hear you loud and clear on that. The one thing that we are holding on to is the fact that we strongly believe that while our children have been here with us, that they have not been infecting one another, student to student, student to teacher, teacher to teacher. We're just not seeing that spread of the virus in our school buildings. And we do agree, don't agree with everything that the governor says for sure, but we certainly do agree that it's a safe place to be. And if we hold to what we have been doing, mask wearing, social distancing when possible. Even with an increase of student attendance together, we're, fingers crossed, we're going to be okay. But as I said earlier on, the moment that this goes south on us, or the additional students who come to school pose a risk to themselves and to our staff, and vice versa, we'll make that judgment. And as I said last Thursday night to our Board of Education, we're a green light as of Thursday night last week. We're a green light as of tonight, especially with the lesser amount of positives that we've been receiving since Thursday, Friday, and this week. But if that were to go, as you say, to a point where it's become concerning, I will close our schools and keep folks at home until we're in the clear. So please know that that's my commitment.
Okay. When do we have to make our decision by?
If you could let us know by tomorrow whether your children will remain on distance learning or coming back to the 4-day, we would be really appreciative for that. And you know what? For everybody who's listening, we have about 200 people here this evening. We're going to make the decision right now, and we're going to push that commitment out for the survey to come back to us by noon on this Friday, so that everybody can have the next day or so to talk about this as a family, make an informed decision. But we will need to know no later than Friday afternoon as to our family's commitment for DL, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So we'll put that out. Pam can put that out. Okay. Well, you're pretty good with the glass. I'm impressed. Hello, Courtney, how are you? I'm not yelling too loud. You're muted. Hit the mute. There you go. Good. You there, Courtney? We're here. Five, four, three, two, one. I'll have to come back to you, Courtney. Sorry.
Emmeline Nicholas?
Emmeline. Pretty name. Good evening. Unmute. Take your mute off. There you go.
Good evening. How are you?
Well, good. How are you tonight?
Hi, my name is Emily Nicholas. My son is actually in 6th grade right now. He just began the Longwood Middle School. And the question that I have is that, being that the classroom already is really like quaint, like they kind of like share classes like 609 and 610 or however they share it. It's not really like a real authentic classroom. It's kind of like a giant room, and they have like, you know, like blockers in between to separate them. So my concern is that with the kids being in that small space already, he's currently right now he's distance learning child from since March.
Okay.
And we want to send him back to school because, you know, he was on a roll student and he's kind of doing kind of like, you know, okay now. And he needs to have that, you know, be with his peers. We kind of get that whole thing. And although, you know, it is a business, of course, we know that, you know, to get the funding for the education for the kids to have, it also is important for our kids to be safe. Now, with the middle school, how the setup is, it's like kind of like a big room.
Yes.
And with the locker rooms, we're kind of like scared with that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't know how we can be comfortable. Is there like some kind of virtual classroom we could see how the classrooms look prior to that? I mean, no pressure.
No,
but
that's an excellent suggestion. I know some of our principals after this evening and prior to the students coming back, especially in our junior high school, I know that Mr. DeWitt is going to be doing that. That's a great suggestion that I'll have a conversation with our principals on. Dr. Castro?
Ms. Tilly did put out pictures as to what the classroom and the cafeteria will look like with the desk flash shields that they call them.
Right. Okay. So another question I have, I know that you guys are really busy right now.
Take your
But the
time.
question I have as well is that also I want to ask the question is that if we do send our child back to school, is it okay for him to wear gloves, you know, face shield, mask? Not that I want to come to, you know, like he's going to war, but I'm just saying to you, like, you know, I want him to be prepared for whatever's, you know what I mean? Like out there, I can't have my kid getting sick. I really can't, or anybody else getting sick. You know what I mean?
Without
I don't
a
want
doubt.
any of our children to be sick. You know what I mean? So I just pray
I
that, you know, God will cover us.
Yes.
But at the same point, my question is, you know, really, it's important for us to have that kind of, you know, question to know if our kid is going to be safe.
Yep.
You know, and I want him to be in school. I would rather him be in school. Of course, it's good to him. He's the only child. So for him to be home with us, for me to be homeschooling him every day, it's great, but it's also better for him to be amongst his peers.
So,
but in the pandemic, it's kind of difficult. You know what I mean?
Yes. So please know that we understand the concerns, more students in the building. We're relying heavily on the fact that none of our children, to our knowledge, have become ill from one another or from their teachers. We understand that'll be a few more students in each one of our classes as we start this process up. Social distancing will remain a priority. It may be challenged at times. When it comes to additional safeguards that you want to give to your child, please have that conversation with Mrs. Tilley, in this case,
Okay.
the principal of the middle school, and she'll help you out with that, okay?
All right. I truly appreciate you guys, and I wish you all the best, and God bless you all.
You guys are the best. Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
Andrea?
Andrea, come on in. Feel like Bob Barker.
Come on then.
Hello, Andrea. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing super, thank you. How can we help you tonight?
My question is relating to the Teachers Association. I believe there was a letter that was released from the Teachers Union stating that they were unhappy with the fact of the returning to school. And I know it's not a reflection of all the teachers, however, it was released. So my question was about how could that impact the return of the students and the schedule? How would that, if impacted at all?
Oh, you mean how would the teachers' concern impact our children returning back to the buildings?
Right, specifically to the letter that was released from the Teachers Union.
I can't speak for Mrs. Labasi, although I respect the fact that she does her job and does it well. You know, her feelings that were expressed in that letter, she's doing her job as the president of our teachers union. But I know that when we've been through situations like this over the past 20 years that I've been here, not all the time do we always agree. But Andrea, when it comes to the safeguard and the best interest of our children, I don't think there's a teacher in this school that would ever do anything less than welcome back and keep our kids safe and sound. So I would not be concerned about that if I were you at all.
Okay, perfect. Again, just to stress, I do understand it was not the thoughts and concerns of all the teachers. I just did want to ask if it was a possibility to be an impact for our kids. So thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you for asking that question. Absolutely.
You got it. Thank you.
Be well. Edith, how are you tonight? Come on in, take your mute off. You're still on.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Great. Actually, this is George, her husband.
Okay, well, it's nice to see you, Edith.
All right, it's George again. George
Tell Edith we said hello because I know she's standing there with you.
Hello,
I'm over here.
So anyway, again, thank you for the entire Longwood district staff, teachers, everyone supporting. We appreciate it immensely. Thank you. Quick question for you is there any plans on testing the students, the staff, being now that there's other methods of testing, rapid tests, things going a lot quicker? And if you do, is there a way for us to get that real-time information so we can, again, make a decision on sending our kids, continue sending them?
Yeah. Super question, and thank you for that. As you know, we have been preparing in the event that the Department of Health in New York State deems us to be a microcluster. That has not happened yet. Fingers crossed. That's a very good thing. As you also may know, we had an overwhelming positive response from our families of more than 1,000 families that would register their children for testing should it come to that. And that was at that time, about a week and a half ago, the only time that we were prepared to do any type of testing. Things have changed a little bit with the cooperation from Albany and the governor's office there. He seems to be suggesting, as of last week anyway, that school districts could voluntarily, without being considered a microcluster, begin testing families who wanted to do that. We're waiting right now for a little bit more guidance from the state on exactly how and what we're permitted to do there. But if we are, I certainly have no problem in being able to do that, even though we're not a micro cluster. So keep your ears to the rail on that. When we have more information about it, and whether we can do it or not, we'll let you know. I'm hoping that we can. Second to that, what seems to be happening since last week is this huge precedent and priority for vaccinations. And that's why we're not hearing a lot about testing at this point as we had prior to the Christmas vacation. But that still doesn't, because your point is great. Even though the vaccinations are there, not everybody's going to take them, and continued testing would keep our community safer. So it's a priority for us. If I know anything between now and Friday, we'll let the community know. Otherwise, we may have more information on both staff and volunteer testing for our kids as we get into next week or the week after. So keep the faith, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You betcha. Thank you. Alicia, come on in. Come on down. Unmute.
Oh, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Good, good. I just had a quick question. Something you mentioned earlier, I wasn't sure if it was in line with the email, but my daughter is in second grade. In the email, I thought it had said that second grade wasn't going back until February, the first week of February, but then I thought you mentioned I'm sorry, excuse me, first grade. But I thought that the email said first grade was going back the following week, but you said all of elementary was going back on the 25th?
Starts on the 25th. I'll ask Dr. Denton right now just to review with everybody, and thank you for this. We'll slow it down. And here's the schedule of students returning to the 4-day hybrid week, starting on the week of January 25th. Dr. Denton?
Thank you, Dr. Longwood, and good evening, everyone. So Monday, January 25th, kindergarten, second grade, and fifth grade students will return to 4 days. Monday, February 1st, first grade, third grade, fourth grade, 6th, 7th, 9th, and 11th grade students will return. On Monday, February 8th, 8th grade, 10th, and 12th grade students will return.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
Anytime at all. Stay in touch with us, okay?
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love it. It's just great.
Greg?
Hello, Greg. Come on in. We're waiting for you. Unmute. Hit your button there, bud. You're still, gotta hit your button and turn that microphone on red. Maybe we lost you. Oh, Greg, I'm sorry. We're checking to see if you're still there or if you're not. Okay, we'll have to come back to you, Greg. I'm sorry.
Nicole?
Hi, Nicole. Got to hit your button there. There you go. Come on in.
Hi, yes. Hi. I just had one quick question. Are the kids going to be required to get vaccinated?
No, they're not. Children and adults right now are not required to be vaccinated by any executive law or measure, both on the state or the federal government. It's all voluntary at this point, Nicole.
So if it is going to be something that's mandated, is that going to come through the government or that's going to come through the schools?
It wouldn't come through the schools. That wouldn't be our jurisdiction. That would be either a federal or state mandate, should it ever get there. We have heard nothing like that so far, so nothing yet. Still voluntary.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
Great question. You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Great questions. You're just great questions. Eurus Romero, come on in. Unmute. Folks, when you see that you're being tapped to come on into the room, you've got to unmute your computer at home. Right now, we're looking at a bunch of people still with them not turned on. There you go. Oh, you just had it. Come on back, do it again. There you go. You there?
Hi, how are you? Yes.
Good. Nice
I
to
have
have
a question. I still don't feel comfortable to send my daughter back to school. Is she gonna be still having the classes online, or she has to go back?
Yes, yours. Thank you so much. So your children or your child may stay at home on distance learning the way it sounds like she has since September 8th. Very important for you to let us know that that's your decision. Please check your email from last Friday, and there it's a question as to whether or not your children will remain on distance learning. That's so important for us to have, and we need it by this Friday. So could you take a look and send that to us?
Okay, no problem. I will take a look to it.
You're the best.
All
Thanks.
right, thank you.
You bet. Good night now. Okay, folks, we got a little bit, about 20 minutes left, and we still got a few people, so let's keep going and we'll answer as much as we can. Jamie, how are you? Got to hit that button so we can hear you. There you
Hello.
go. Hello.
Sorry, there is a delay, just so you know, when you try to unmute it.
Okay, you take your time.
Okay, I apologize.
No, it's
So
okay.
I am a healthcare professional, and I do see it is getting absolutely insane again. I have to be honest with you. And I know that you are not aware of how many students yet are going to say that they will come back. But my concern is, especially, and I think Christina Brown had asked this earlier, at the higher levels with the transitioning between classes,
Yes.
is there any way to possibly stagger? Like, let's say, okay, the one wing goes now, and then a minute later, the next wing, and you just give them extra time, because to have those students in those hallways packed like that, I've been to the parent-teacher conferences, and that's not even as many students that are in the building at one time, and you're like sardines. So that's my one question, that possibly.
More than legitimate question, more than an absolute legitimate, absolutely. So know that Mr. Schuster in the high school will be working with his staff to take a look at whatever alternatives would be possible to stagger and still be able to get our kids to class on time. And even if it's not on time, that's okay, because safety first. So I'm sure he's looking at that, and we'll make whatever accommodation as possible as soon as we know, especially how many students will be coming back to school. That's a big question for us.
Of course, no, I do realize that. And the other thing, and again, this would probably just depend on how many come back. Within the classrooms themselves, have there been barriers installed on all the desks, or?
Barriers or shields have been installed on every one of our elementary desks, K through 6.
Okay.
Some of the special areas and special needs students, 7 through 12. But all of our children on the elementary will have a shield, because they'll be spending most of their time in that room during the course of the day. Their lunch and such, other than specials or phys ed, maybe even phys ed, depending upon what the lesson is. But on the secondary level, the children will continue to move from class to class. And actually, the research has shown to us that the movement of those shields, if we were to have them on the secondary level, is a little bit dangerous. And they also become a little bit out of control as far as being cleaned. So the high school will not have shields at each one of their desks.
Okay, and I understand, I don't think the shields really prevent a lot to begin with, but my concern is, so if, let's say, 25 students decide they're going to come back to this first period in the high school, now it's a packed class again. So I'm not sure, because I didn't do my homework yet, but did the CDC change any kind of guidelines? If a student tests positive in that classroom, or the teacher, now all those students have been in contact because they're closer, right? We're not social distancing like we should be. They're all going to have to quarantine. Did anything change that I'm not aware of, or?
No, that is the way it is. That if somebody is positive wherever they are,
Yeah.
They are closer than 6 feet for more than 10 minutes. The Department of Health will quarantine that population, possibly that entire class, if that was the case, yes.
Okay. Okay. All
That
right.
has-
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. That was it.
Take care. See you
Have a
soon.
good evening.
Yep, thank you so much.
Kim Fitzpatrick.
Kim, come on in, Kim. Nice to see you tonight. Take your time. We know there's a bit of a delay. You're in.
You hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I think my question was already answered. It was about I had seen there was a letter from the teachers union.
Yes.
And I believe you said that it wouldn't really, well, it hasn't in the past affected it hasn't really affected the outcome. Because my concern was if the teachers are worried about coming back, is that going to affect us my son as a senior coming back to school in February?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. And I'll be honest with you, Kim. I've been doing this work for 43 years in 3 different school districts on Long Island. I've seen strikes for no contracts. I've seen other issues that happen with teachers' unions. I've seen a lot. Never seen it happen here at Longwood. But even during those times, in those schools, I have never seen a teacher turn away or not take into consideration the well-being of the children that are assigned to them. They are professionals. We are all professionals, and we say what we feel and we put our position forward. But when it comes to our children, I'll say that for our teachers here at Longwood, they are our priority and always will be. So I'll almost guarantee to you, when your children come back to school, they're going to be welcomed back with open arms with teachers who want them to be here, even though there's a concern, and rightly so stated by their union president, which I respect.
Okay, great. Thank you for your help and have a good night.
You too. You take good care.
Thanks.
You bet.
Callie?
Hello, Callie. How are you? Take your time. Got about 10. There you go.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to ask some questions.
Take your time.
My first question is, when are we definitely going to know when the kids are returning back to school?
You mean, help me with that again. When do we know definitely they're returning to?
Yeah, so I mean, for the parents that work and have their kids with tutors or in daycare or whatever the situation is, I mean, if their kids are going to return 4 days, we might not need some of the services that we're currently utilizing right now. So when will we absolutely know that the kids are returning to school? What is the latest deadline?
Well, we're ready to go right now, and we have our timeline set up.
Right, but you've mentioned a few times that it was contingent on the numbers. So,
well, not contingent upon the numbers, how we can best protect our children who will be here for 4 days, beginning on the 25th of January. We'll know better once parents who have made decisions on either continuing or bringing their children back to school let us know that. And we've just extended that out to this Friday. So we should know by Friday night or Monday what the numbers look like in each one of our campuses.
okay, but the letter that you sent out did not say that. The email that we got, it said at the bottom that it was contingent on the numbers. And you've mentioned a few times during this meeting that if the numbers change, the school would go back to full remote. So logically, wait, let me finish.
Okay.
Logically, if the numbers skyrocket and things go back to the way they were, how would the schools open and how would they remain open? And how can you guarantee a full deadline of them absolutely going back?
Okay, so as of this evening, and I'm sorry if I've confused yourself and folks out there, as of this evening, we are a go. It's a green light to go to a 4-day in-person attendance. That's our starting on the 25th of January.
Okay, and that's not going to change before the 25th.
I think what I said at the board meeting last Thursday was we watch daily. the infection rate and what's happening within our community. And
Right. So then that's exactly what I said. It could change. So when would be the 11th hour that we would know if it's going to change?
The 11th hour could be the 24th of January if we all feel
Okay.
it's not safe for our kids to come back to school 4 days a week.
Okay. And then the plexiglass, when is that going to be finished getting installed?
On the elementary level,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they're doing it right now, so it'll be done prior to the onset of the 25th of January.
Okay.
What
All
else do you
right.
need to know? Anything else? Well, I'm sorry if I confused you there. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. But
Yeah.
nothing-
I do actually have one last question.
Sure.
So for the students that have been suffering, and I know that my child is not the only one. I have 3 in the district.
Yeah.
But one in particular I've had concerns with that I've actually emailed you about and called quite a few times about.
Okay.
For the children that have teachers that are not willing to work with them, what plan does the school district have in place to make sure that those kids that don't meet other guidelines to go back 5 days get? How do you plan on supporting those students?
Dr. Castro, can you,
I'm not
a little bit,
exactly understanding the question. So right now, our hybrid is going to 4 days, and we hope that the students come in for the 4 days.
Right.
They will still be distance learning as they are currently.
Right. So I'm not asking for the kids that would choose to continue doing distance learning. For the ones that can't go in full time, like, so in other words, if the school goes back to full remote, the students that are really struggling with it, what plan, if any, does the district have to support those students that need extra help?
So I guess what you're asking is if we went to full remote like we did in March of last year?
Yeah.
So.
Or even well, actually, yes, that is it, because you said that we're not staying at 2 days. So the option would be right now, either 4 days or
Right.
full remote.
Right, right. So your children would have the opportunity to come in 4 days of the week.
Right. If the school district, let me just clarify that. If the school district has to shut down again, and we don't have an option like we don't now, and we had to have several meetings, understandably. But if the parents and the students have no option but to stay remote because that's what's deemed necessary, how does Longwood districts plan on supporting the students that are struggling being home?
yeah, we've been, thank you for that, because we've come a long way since March and April. And quite frankly, we thought that we were doing a really great job, and in many respects, we were in the learning process. We've come a long way since March until now. And I will tell you, and it's not a perfect situation for our students, no doubt about it. Some of our children do struggle for lots of different reasons when they're not here in school and they're on distance learning. But that hasn't kept our school counselors, social workers, psychologists, and administrators in their offices. They're out there, they're knocking on doors. A lot of the times they get an answer, sometimes they don't. You know that we will get an answer from your house because you're committed.
Well, also because I've emailed and called several times to quite a few people at that meeting right now, and nobody's responded.
Okay, so if there's still additional questions that you need and resources that you need for your children who are on distance learning right now, please contact that building principal, and I'm sure they'll reach out to you and do the best that they can to help you. I'm sure of that.
I actually did that, and after quite a few phone calls, Miss Tilly did respond, and I did have a conversation with her, and I was directed to the higher ups, which I guess are you guys, because it can't be resolved, and I don't want to take up any more time, but a
No
phone
problem.
call would
Glad
be
you called.
appreciated.
We got your name, we got your phone number. We're going to reach out to you before the end of the week, okay?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. Thanks for being here. Okay, we got about 5, maybe 10 minutes left, and we'll try to get as many questions as possible. If your question has been answered, maybe you could just kind of move to the side. If you have any more specific questions that we didn't address, hang in there. Ashley's next. See, you can see. Hello, Ashley, how are you?
Hi, good. No, actually, my question was answered. Sorry, I forgot to put my hand down.
No problem.
But
Thanks
thank you for everything.
How you been, okay?
Yeah, doing good.
Good.
Everybody's
Family's okay?
healthy, thank God.
Everybody's good. You take care, okay?
Yes, you too. Thanks for everything.
Betcha. Mike, come on in, Michael. Okay.
Hello?
there you go.
Hello?
Hello, we're here. How you doing,
Oh,
Mike?
okay. Yep, I got you. Thank you.
Sure.
First, I want to say thank you for everything that everybody's been doing for the kids. It's been outstanding and
Thank
much
you.
appreciated.
We'll pass it.
Just two quick questions. One about the after school. I know there's like a Lego after school and
At least you got
things
this.
like that. Is that still going to continue?
As
And
much
then my
as we
second,
can.
okay. And then the second part of the question is the right at school.
Yes.
Are they prepared to take the influx of the children going back now that it's 4 days?
Oh,
For
they
like the
can't,
parents like
they
us that
can't
have to
wait,
work?
Mike. Yeah, they can't wait. The more the merrier, absolutely.
Okay, and what are they, just what kind of preparation have they been doing to make sure the kids are gonna be okay with the influx of going back?
Yeah, they've been prepared. They've been working with us since the summertime. You know, if it wasn't for Right at School, we wouldn't have had the aftercare that was necessary and ordered by the governor for our essential workers. So they've been doing it now for a number of months, and they are prepared for more students to be in the before and the after school program. That's a guarantee. They're a great outfit. They've been doing great things with us. So I don't have a concern for them at all. With regards to after school activities, Mrs. Motto?
So the Lego teams are definitely meeting, and even if we were to remain on full virtual, the Lego virtual teams are still meeting as well with the coaches that are in the middle school and the junior high school. So that will continue, whether more students come in or want to stay full distance learning, they can still participate in that as well. And if Right at School, if your child's in the middle school, the option is also you can come to Empire After School program. That's happening after school, that your child can join a part of it if they come back to school or want to stay virtual as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just, is there any additional that we have to fill out to get them in? Like, is there a process now, or is it just call up and get them into the Right at School? I know in the beginning of the year, you have to like go on the list to get in and sign in and stuff like that. Is that still now, or is it more streamlined?
We believe that you can do that through our website and be able to register for Right at School on our website.
Okay, great. All
Okay.
right, thank you again for everything you guys are doing. Have a good night.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great community.
Grizz.
Come on, you got to give it to me right here. Grizz. You're right. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm finally on. I have a question. So, I want to know, how fast do you guys get the information that these kids have been, susceptible, that they've got COVID or whatever?
Yeah. I tell you, I've been very impressed with our parents. Tremendous. I mean, we have left the phones open over Thanksgiving vacation, over Christmas. Parents will call when they have received information that if their child was ill and they had taken them for testing, if it was a positive case, they were calling, no exaggeration, Christmas Eve, couple Christmas Day, right after. Our parents have been just super on that, and our administrators get into it right away, and they do the contact tracing, given the guidelines that are given to us by CDC. So Longwood does a lot of great things. This one, we're doing really well. And every single child or staff member that reports to us a positive diagnosis, I can take you down the list and show you what the details are regarding those close contacts for every one of those children and staff. Very proud of that.
Good. So, I sometimes get like really nervous when I get the text saying, "Oh, go look at the website so you can see how many kids got COVID," and teachers.
Yes.
My thing is, like, I know they have to be quarantined, but why is it that sometimes you guys don't close the school? You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the beginning, I'll be honest with you, when we didn't know to what extent this was going to happen, we did that a few times. And then sometime around the beginning of November, the Department of Health came out with us with a radical change and changed the guidelines with regards to quarantining. because really what they were finding out that we all know now is nobody was becoming ill in school from one another, staff to children, vice versa. So the quarantining measures are a little bit different now and not as strict. There were times in the beginning of the school year when I'd be reaching out to parents at 9 and 10 o'clock at night saying that we're going to be closed at CEW tomorrow or the middle school tomorrow. That's not happening anymore because they really have abbreviated the close contact guidelines because nobody, thank God, is transmitting this disease within our school buildings. That's my take on it.
Well, thank you very much.
You
for
take care
your
of yourself.
answer.
I'm
You
glad
too.
you got through with us tonight.
I know. I was like so excited and everything. All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take
We
care.
got time for 2 more questions, okay? And then we got to go home and go to bed. Vicky, what do you got? Take your time. You're coming in. There you go.
Hi, everyone. I'll be short. Some of my questions were answered. Thank you.
Take your time. Take your time.
And also thank you for making this very difficult decision to begin phasing children back in. I know there's a lot of mixed emotions, so I appreciate it. My son's looking forward to coming back to school.
That's great, Vicky.
4 days. So anyway, will they continue to eat lunch and breakfast in the classroom?
Yes, that's the plan, ma'am. Yep.
Okay. You said something earlier about PE. I know currently they do go to the gym for PE, but I'm assuming because the class sizes are smaller in the elementary level. Would they potentially do a push in? Or something for the
Maybe,
gym?
it's something that the principals will look at. Once we get those numbers in hand and know exactly what the daily attendance will be, that'll help us go a little bit further. Dr. Castro, a little bit more on that.
Also, in terms of the PE, the classes cannot maintain the social distancing. The lesson will be changed to accommodate so that they can be together 6 feet versus the 12 feet, but so that will change.
Okay, thank you. The survey, I kind of missed a little bit of the beginning. The survey is only for those staying on distance learning, correct?
That's
So
correct,
I don't have to do anything. Wednesdays are staying the same?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and briefly earlier you talked about the buses. I understand now that families stick together. Obviously, there's less children on the bus. Could it, and this may be too premature, but could my child potentially be sitting with another child if there are too many children on the bus? Or are you looking to reroute buses or change routes?
It is possible that they would be sitting next to someone who's not in the family. That is possible.
Okay, and we would know that, like the bus driver would tell us, just so we would be aware.
Sure, I want you to be informed on that as much as possible.
Thank
yes.
you. And one last thing, and I
Sure.
know you've said this at the board meeting and again tonight, that obviously everything's fluid and can change at any
Yes,
moment.
that's right.
Things, I see green light for today. Are we looking, just to give like an estimate, I think a parent was asking this before, like, yes, it may change on January 24th, but would it need to be like a big spike? I don't know how to define big, but I know like the other day, things were a little bit higher, not as many cases in the community, like you said earlier. So would there have to be like a large increase in cases to truly change gears, or are we expecting that we'll probably at least phase in on January 20th?
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay, Vicky. I mean, we've been doing this now. We've become somewhat of this COVID pandemic. I'm not going to say an expert, I'm far from it, but we know our district really well. We've been watching things every single day. And we made the call, as you know, right before Thanksgiving, not to bring back K through 6 to the 4 days because things there were a bit concerning. I think we have this. And no, I don't think it's going to be at midnight on the 24th and catch you guys, off guard with childcare and so on and so forth. If it's not going to happen, I think we'd know it within the next 10 days. Right now, thumbs are up, and we're hoping that with the vaccinations and really what everybody doing at home, staying put for a while, getting tested is really helping us with the numbers that we've seen this week. So fingers crossed.
Absolutely. I agree. And thank you all for what you're doing. It's greatly appreciated. It's tough times, but everyone stays safe.
And we thank you for the support. Every single person here tonight, we thank you for the support. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you may still be waiting there, but we're going to call it a night for now. But you have the opportunity to email to us your questions Every single one of them will be answered one way or the other, either with an answer that's already posted on our website, or that one person on my staff will answer you with an individual question. And also always be able to contact your building administration for follow-up questions on anything we discussed here tonight. So this was really great. I thank each and every one of our families for the wonderful things said about the people who work hard here every single day. I'm blessed as a superintendent to be able to say, I got the best administrators and the best teaching staff in the world. I believe that. And we thank you so much for your support and your continued help. So thumbs up, we'll stay in contact, and let's hope that on June 30th, we're celebrating the comeback of all of our children, and that we finally get this thing under control and take a look at brighter days ahead. Thanks. Have a great evening. Take good care, okay? Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep distant.